All right, Professor, let's talk about this. We got 6 tiers of drivers. The A tier, big names. You have Harvick, Hamlin, Truex. Kyle Busch, I think, is right on the edge. We're going to call him tier A-. So it's pretty clear. Harvick, though, at the top. That's a little – I know Fords have dominated, but this is the man that hasn't won this year. How to get to the top?
Yeah, Ford's won the last 8 races at Michigan, so that's the first thing. But he won 5 of the last 7 at Michigan.
Come again?
Yeah. You hear that?
Yeah.
5 of the last 7.
He won 5 of the last 7.
Yes.
How short our memories are.
What do we have for lunch?
Okay, that's how you get to the top. 5 of the last 7, Kevin Harvick. So it's Harvick, Hamlin, Truex. You're saying throw a blanket over him.
Yep. And then Kyle Busch right on that outside edge.
All right, so we're going to call him tier A-. He's right in the middle. You're on board with that?
Yeah, definitely.
Tier B, Byron, Larson, no surprise there. Logano, probably not a surprise. I could get my mind around Chase Elliott and Blaney. Brad K. So he pops into your top 10 of your predictor now. He's been a top 10 machine here lately.
Yep, he's been 6th or better in 3 of the last 4 races. 7th at California this year. We think that still translates or not.
It's 50-50, so I love the size of the track. The tire fall off is a real big issue. So the big difference between California and Michigan, why they look the same, and they were really designed – California was designed after Michigan. Whatever the asphalt was they used out there, it's more Darlington-esque. Like you lose grip right away. Where Michigan, I don't know what the hell they paved that summit with, but that's what they need to pave Jaton because it hasn't worn out at all. I mean, if they would have paved 77 with that pavement, they could have forgot about it for 20 years. I mean, this stuff is unbelievable. Michigan winners, and it looks like fresh pavement every time we go.
Yeah, well, he's been runner-up there 3 times, and there's no other track he wants to win at more than Michigan. So,
you want to tell why, or should I steal that stat?
I don't like that stat. So
it's true, though.
It's true, but there's other tracks where that's true as well. So
the difference is, so here's the thing: Michigan is in backyard of all the manufacturers, but Brad's a Michigan driver, and he's never won at his home track. No one's ever won at Michigan. But to the professor's point, you could say that in a lot of states where we have races. But Rick will get that. Is that a 3-time or a 4-time on the air this weekend? Should we set that line at 3.5?
The over-under is 3.5 for sure.
3.5. I'm taking the over. If you count practice of qualifying, I'm taking the over. Tier 2 is everybody that you'd expect plus Keselowski. We can move along. Tier C, I have some surprises in here I want to discuss. Ty Gibbs, I love. Buscher, I believe. Eric Jones. Like my man's like the stock market, hot or cold. We had him great at Pocono. You called it, Professor. I'm not going to take the credit. You called it. But you have Eric Jones in front of Christopher Bell, in front of Bubba Wallace, in front of Bowman, in front of Reddick. Help me get Eric Jones in front of all those guys. Yeah,
Eric Jones, he was 8th there last year in this car. He's run pretty well recently. 9th at Pocono, 11th, 8th, 16th. Like that, he's been running in this range.
Okay, that's the C tier, and just for the listeners at home, the C tier take you all the way to like 18th. So now the D tier, we're talking guys that we don't have predicted inside the top 15: Briscoe, Suarez, Dillon, Chastain. That feels like a kick in the teeth to Ross, the boss, Chastain.
Well, look at him lately. Look at his finishes lately. It's been 24th, 13th, 23rd, 35th, 22nd. And he has 2 top 10s in the last 9 races.
Hard to argue with that.
Trackhouse in general hasn't been very good lately.
They really haven't.
Finished at Michigan is 24th.
Fade Trackhouse at Richmond was the call of the week.
Yep.
They were stinky.
Yep.
Briscoe. Okay, I do want to stop, though. I'm the first guy to tell you how bad SHR is, so I'm going to be the first guy to tell you what they did at Richmond was very impressive. 4 cars in the top 11. How about this? Here's a stat for you. They had 3 cars in the top 10 for the first time since 2020. In 2020, they did it 11 times. So when you talk about the old car to the new car and what it did was kick SHR in the teeth because 11 times in 2020 they put 3 guys in the top 10. This is the first time they've done it since. So the next-gen car obviously has been a big curveball for them.
Yeah.
But so I want to give a moment to SHR.
They did it straight out. It wasn't any
no goofy
finish.
Nothing. Just lock it. And I actually would make the argument, no offense to Chris Buescher, it was a great win. But if Priest doesn't get shoved through his pit box on the first stop, and if Almirola doesn't hit the commitment box, I think either of those cars have winning speed. Like I think they might look back and say it was a good day, should have been a great day. We made a couple mistakes. So we're all the way down in D now. Briscoe, Suarez, Dillon. I asked about Chastain, Stenhouse, Dinger, Priest. We got to stop on Stenhouse because Chop loves him. What are Stenhouse's numbers at Michigan? Can you get him in the top 10? Because that's where Chop's going to want to put him.
I can't do it. He's got
how many starts? How many top 10s? Just give us a big number.
One top 10, 18 starts.
That's pretty rough. That's okay. We'll see. We'll see what kind of emotion he gets to. E and F, I'm just going to run through these just to make sure there's not a surprise. Haley, 26. LaJoy just announced back at Spire. Haley, LaJoy, Cindric, Dillon, Gilliland, McDowell, Burton, Gregson. Listen.
What about McDowell?
Wait, what about McDowell? I have a question about McDowell, and I want you to answer another question at the same time. So Fords have won the last 8. I want to know McDowell's numbers, and I want to know, I know we say Fords have won, but how about the rest of the field? Like, is it Kevin Harvick dominating that stat, and there's no other Fords in the top 5, or do Fords in general run well here? That's an important question for the wagering side of this podcast.
Okay, so first off, McDowell's best finish is 20th at Michigan. And
how many tries?
A lot.
Wow.
Sounds like Stenhouse over McDowell.
Love that. I don't think the predictors caught up with Ricky yet for this year. I think they're relying too much on the past.
That's a
that's a debate worth having.
I mean, every week he hasn't had very many crappy weeks.
So listen, you're not wrong. When I look at people, the predictor for sure is a, hey, where do you want to invest to get your 5% return, right? And it does miss. Like, I do believe Stenhouse is having a standout year. How about this? Even without a win, he's in the playoffs. He's in the playoffs on points.
Yeah.
So it's I think the win at Daytona, this is going to sound crazy, but it's actually overshadowing how good of a year he's having, because if he didn't have that win, he would be like up there with those guys that are high in points. But I do agree it is definitely not as positive for Ricky Stenhouse versus numbers.
Yeah, but he's been good. He hasn't been great, though. Like,
we're not looking for great.
Yeah, we're talking about relative, though.
We went from stinky to good. That's an improvement.
Right. He's in a conversation they wasn't in the past.
Agreed. He's going to have a career number of top 10s. Some bald guy wearing a medium plus T-shirt told me that.
Yeah, that's true. But it still doesn't get him in a top tier or top 2 tier.
No.
But you got him in a D tier.
Yeah.
I still think that's where he belongs.
All right.
Okay, fair.
I'll just
all right, is there anything else we
tickets.
need to talk about in this predictor? Have we hit all the big names? Because I'm ready to talk some odds. Yeah, I did. That's important because we're going to jump right into the first bet we're going to talk about is the manufacturer bet. We're going to Michigan. We're not talking wins. We're going right to the manufacturer bet. Ford's the long shot at plus 240. So someone needs to explain to me how a manufacturer that's won the last 8 at a racetrack, Kevin Harvick 5 of the last 7, the books have him at plus 240. So the first bet on the odds goes with Ford's. Professor, is Ford going to win this weekend?
Well, the numbers say yes, so I'm going with yes. So they, in the last 8 races where they won, they finished second 3 times as well. They have the most top 5s and most top 10s and led a crap ton of laps compared to everybody else in the last 8 races.
So it's not just a Kevin Harvick skewed number. Ford in general is backing it up.
Yep, they've have 44% of the top 10 finishes in the last 8 races there.